start early on this season, and a fan
third match
said,
of the year.
Yep, third match of the year. One of the fans said, Stuckey for president.
Well, she'd get quite a few votes for the folks wearing orange and blue here in Exactech Arena tonight. As Florida A&M will open in the court to our left wearing the all-black uniforms. Florida in the white tops and blue shorts to our right as Irem Achar serves to open up play. Gators will go to Marina Markova on the opening rally. Jousting at the net. That's won by Florida Middle, one of the two sophomore middles that the Gators roll out, Gabby Essex.
And this Rattlers squad, Tom, is a team that was reminded by Yomaz coming into this postseason that, hey, they're champions. They won the SWAC. They were here last year, but this is a shot with more familiarity to take on a large, powerful, aggressive Florida Gators squad.
Markova again from the outside, and a kill for Marina Markova.
And when I say large, there it is, 6'5" at the pin. I'm talking tall, I'm talking high contact. Look at Markova split that block, and that's what Florida A&M is going to have to contend with, is high contact, aggressive swinging at the net.
Stuckey serves for Florida, the SEC Freshman of the Year. On the outside, a kill for Brooke Lynn Watts, the SWAC newcomer of the year, excuse me. First team, all SWAC conference, transfer from Murray State.
A lot of transfers coming into Florida A&M. Not very many, if any, transferring out. Gökhan Yomaz building quite the squad there.
Heavy dose of Markova early here for Florida. As we get the first look there from Dominique Washington. And the first look for Florida's Merritt Beeson. Merritt Beeson in this rotation on the left, Josh.
Yeah, rotation one, so that'd be when Alexis Stuckey, who you saw on the screen before, is at right back. So either serving or just having served. Beeson will stay at the left side, but she's a right side player. So if you're watching the Gators for the first time, don't be confused when you see her hitting over at the right pin now in this play.
Emily Cannon checks in and serves for Florida. Not a great pass. It's going to go over the up official's head and bounce right to yours truly. What should I do with it?
That's a lift, Tom.
That's a lift violation? Okay.
Not on A&M, on you.
4-1 Florida after the service ace for Emily Cannon. Cannon now with, make it 31 aces on the year.
And they often come in groups.
Free ball opportunity for Florida, already up 4-1 here in the opening moments. And Gabby Essex delivers a bomb from the middle, going around Isis Williams.
And there's so much to talk about for both these teams, but why don't we start with the Florida middle? When Florida can either in transition or serve receive, feed the middle, doesn't matter which side of the rotation they're on, Essex, Bree Kelly, the occasional Nadie Okamore, doesn't matter, ball goes down.
Canann's serve is long, so Florida A&M will rotate, and we'll see Asha Jones check in. And serving, wearing number 20 in black, is Dominique Turner. Her second season at Florida A&M after starting her collegiate career at Marshall. Cannon lets that one sail long, and the service error makes it Florida 6, Florida A&M 2. And we see our first look in the match. Bree Kelly in for the Gators as McKissick serves in the spot in the rotation from Gabby Essex.
There you go. And both middles, Bree Kelly no exception, will hit in front of or behind. Now in this case, she'll be hitting mostly in front of because you've got Merritt Beeson behind Stuckey as she's in the back row. Little scramble play here from Florida.
Victoria gets the ball across the net for the Gators. Outside to Dominique Washington. Victoria swings away. Good block cover from Cannon. Beeson from the right. And an attack there for Merritt Beeson.
Maybe trying to get just a little too aggressive. Now, Florida's got to remember that they've got the size advantage here. They've got the height and the reach. So hitting down into the block is their kryptonite. And I think Merritt Beeson just got a little too greedy with that angle shot, clipping the tape there. A&M's going to try to use the serve to disrupt Florida as much as they can and then try for big swings, even in out-of-system play.
Bree Kelly is blocked. So the first look for Florida's other sophomore middle is rejected by Asha Jones.
You can see number 11 there in the middle in black on the right side of your screen. Again, fatal error swinging down into the block when you have a height advantage.
Asha Jones, top on the team with 85 blocks. I guess now give her 86.
And that was a good one, too. Landed in the backcourt for Florida. There's nothing you can do about that.
Merritt Beeson now serves for Florida. The team captain, just a sophomore, from Gardendale, Alabama. Brooke Hudson made the pass there. The libero for Florida A&M wearing the contrasting jersey, and it's a point for the Rattlers.
That ball came off of Bree Kelly's inside arm there. Sophia Victoria, number 4 for Florida, had to go fishing for it. Couldn't get both hands on it, sent it into the stands.
Here's Dominique Washington, the graduate student. And not handled by Sophia Victoria, goes as an ace for the 2-time SWAC Player of the Year. Won it last year, won it this year.
If you can get both Merritt Beeson and Emily Canan on the floor back amongst the cheerleaders, you're doing something right with the serve, and that's exactly what A&M has to do to negate the size difference here.
7, 5, 4.
Out to Victoria, down the line, it's out, it's wide, and we're tied at 7. Florida looking for some offensive rhythm here early, only hitting 91, 4 kills, 3 errors, as Dominique Washington preparing to serve it again for the Rattlers. That one's wide.
Of Florida A&M, 7 points. 1 service error from Florida, and you just mentioned 4 hitting errors. More than half of the points for Florida A&M were handed to them by the Gators. 3 hitting errors, excuse me.
Trinity Adams serves it here for the Gators. Florida clinging to a 1-point lead here in this first frame. That one sails wide off of Aja Jones's right arm. Her first season at Florida A&M. Last year she was at Florida Gulf Coast University. I beg your pardon.
Just watched that barn burner between FGCU and Iowa State. Called that match just a moment ago right here on this very court.
Quick turnaround for the teams to warm up and get ready for this one. The winner of this match will face Iowa State tomorrow night here on this same court at 7 o'clock. As for Florida A&M, a look at their libero, Jada Taylor. A transfer, first season of Florida A&M from Grambling State. And that serves in the net, so another error. And the Gators the first into double digits. As McKissick out, the rotation where Bree Kelly will serve it, so both Florida middles on the court for this one rotation. At least while Kelly can continue to serve. That one's wide. Brooklyn Watts misses that one. Trying a severe cut shot from that left pin.
And I'm already impressed. She's only 5'8", but Irem Uchar, the setter for FAMU, great contact and finding hitters where she wants. It's just a narrow miss.
So you're telling me we have a second match in a row with a 5'8" outside who's athletic. Here she is. Stuckey takes a swing, second contact.
Just tipped up by Markova there, and then she goes for the give and go again. This ball's still alive.
Markova finally stomps her right foot down, saying, it's finally done.
Smart touch, though, on that very first contact by Markova. The ball was over. She couldn't get 2 hands on it, so almost like a tip offensively. She just popped the ball up to make it easy for Stuckey to get in there, and then, of course, she got set again, so why not?
Bree Kelly's serve. 6 aces on the year against 13 errors. She tries to make it dig and back right, but that's as a hitter court awareness. You know the middle is protecting that back right defensive area for the Gators.
You've got one of the 6 rotations, you're right, where you've got a middle in there trying to play defense so their team can keep serving. And if you're smart, you target that player with your offense. Because her defensive skill is in the front row blocking, not so much digging.
Irem Uchar serving for Florida A&M. Gabby Essex down the line, buries the slide play, taking off 1 foot at that right antenna.
You won't see as much of that now, but you've got Alexis Stuckey in the front row, so she is the right front player. And when Gabby Essex, you see her on the screen now, is in the middle, she can run that play behind and along the net, and it really befuddles the block if you're deceptive with it, and Stuckey is.
Great send across the net by Brooklyn Watts.
Good spot, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a ranked Division I libero, you can't get beat on overpasses. And you got to wonder if this Gator squad is still just trying to find their rhythm here.
7, 5,
Stuckey will set the middle, and Essex delivers again. What a sophomore campaign for Gabby Essex. She's really excelled, especially defensively. Told her coach, Mary Wise, she wanted to average 2 blocks per set, emulating Florida former Gator, All-American Ramat Al-Hassan. Currently 7th in the SEC is Essex defensively with 1.2 blocks per set. As Canaan sails that one long.
Ramat Al-Hassan's a high bar to shoot for. You got to love that from Gabby Essex. You know what I love even more is her demeanor on the court. She's fierce as a player, but she always looks like she's having such a good time. And she's out there putting in a lot of work, a lot of movement on the transitions, following Dave Booz's blocking scheme. But you always see that smile in between plays.
Well, the pass goes across the net. No one's going to play for Florida A&M. It happens.
Okay, so Ellie McKissick's slate is clean now. Tabula rasa.
Florida first team to 15 here in the opening frame with a 4-point lead over in-state rival Florida A&M.
Tickets and hospitality packages, all from one source. Visit ncaa.com/VIP to snag your VIP championship experience today.
Third seed in this Madison, Wisconsin region. Florida with a 4-point lead over in-state rival Florida A&M. This series between the two in-state rivals has been dominated by Florida. The Gators lead it 12-0. In fact, they've been all 3-set victories for Florida. The teams met a year ago today in the first round of the NCAA tournament, which was Mary Wise's 1,000th career win.
Yeah, and I mentioned that earlier as far as the matchup, but what we didn't say is that this is the 13th conference championship for A&M. They got an auto bid to this tournament, just like Florida. Played some strong matches against FSU, James Madison, and Yale early on. They didn't win those, but like I said, they're trying to set the table for a big show today. It's going to be a center line violation there.
Yes, falling down. The setter,
yep,
Uchar.
Number 7, Uchar for Florida A&M. We're going to be calling her a lot. Like I said, I think she's got a great contact, and she's really good with creating opportunities for her hitter. She's going to have her work cut out for her against the Florida block.
Second season at Florida A&M for Achar. In both seasons, all she's done is be the SWAC Setter of the Year. That's pretty good transfer.
That's right.
In from TCU.
We'll get a chance to cover this a little bit later on in the broadcast, but some pretty good accolades, both in the players that started off at A&M and those that have transferred in. There's a lot for Yomaz to work with on this squad.
Florida A&M tried to get the ball back across the net, but you could hear the thud picked up by our crowd mic as the Florida Gators had a huge block set up here with Beeson and Kelly.
And despite number 16, Dominique Washington, being set off the net, having the ability to work around, it's just too big of a block to hit around, apparently.
The tip shot, Sophia Victoria caught the ball off the net for Florida, now will swing away. And just straight up, no approach, got the ball, timed it right, buried it.
But didn't swing away, though. She put it down, but didn't swing away. And that's an important feature here. As I talked to Mary Wise a couple weeks ago in Sophia Victoria's progress as a hitter, she's making smarter choices on those less than ideal situations. It wasn't too long ago that would have resulted in an error.
Good court vision for Aja Jones. Saw Florida's back left was vacant and checked in.
She was facing the announcer's table over there and turned the other way. Great spot. Just shows that you don't have to put a dent in the floor to get a kill. Kill's a kill.
Dominique Washington with the serve. Stuckey tried to dump it, but there was the middle Jones. Crafty swing. It wasn't the best set in terms of timing with Stuckey on that attack, but kind of a whip of an arm and off of that low set.
Well, and that's a one-on-one with Brooklyn Watts. You can see that there at the right side of your screen. She got a good touch on it, but hadn't quite penetrated the net to direct it back down. That ball came down on, obviously, the Rattlers' side.
Florida with a lead of a half dozen. Trinity Adams back in for the Gators serving. That means Markov is back on the other side of the rotation in the front row.
And that's the kind of play that I was talking about from Uchar. That tight pass that she had to deal with, and look how well she turned her back in and was able to deliver a hittable ball. The ball's right down the line, just narrowly missed.
Yilmaz takes the timeout for Florida A&M, trailing in-state rival Florida by 7. Gainesville, Florida is the scene for this NCAA Division I Women's Volleyball Championship first round match. As the 3 seed in the Madison, Wisconsin region, that is if they win all the way through, they'll host. Florida leading in-state rival Florida A&M by 7 here in the opening frame. As after the timeout, the serve from Adams. Markova at 6'5", extends, and sends it back.
Uchar doing everything she can to get the ball to number 11. You see that in Aja Jones. Tried to put the ball down, but there's just so much arm from Marina Markova.
Tied for the second tallest pin hitter, or the tallest pin hitter in Florida history.
That ball's headed over the net on serve receive from the Rattlers, and Uchar just barely grazes it and directs it down.
Yeah.
We mentioned it before, and this is a setter versus setter situation, but you know, when setters go up in joust, they've got such good court awareness and well, if I can say so, proprioception, which is knowing where their body is in space, that they almost always win those contacts. She did.
Isis Williams blocked it, then played it up. For Florida A&M in the middle, Bree Kelly, just a flick of the wrist.
Sometimes that's all it takes. We've seen monster swings even earlier on in this set where Florida has taken a rip on the ball but hit it down and into a waiting block. Bree Kelly in this case, you said it, backed off a little bit and found the floor.
First look in the match tonight for the freshman Emerson Hoyle, who's had extended playing time in her initial campaign. And she'll get an ace here. Her first NCAA tournament ace.
Not a bad way to step in.
Not bad at all, right?
I got a chance to talk to her father at one of the after-match events, and it's always cool to meet players' families and hear a little bit about their background and how much they enjoy being here in Gainesville and contributing to the squad.
Hoyle with a diving play to save it. Stuckey had the right idea but missed it.
Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but I heard that somebody mentioned earlier on in the season that Alexis Stuckey didn't dump the ball very much because she couldn't. And there was a distinct point, Tom, over the course of this Gator season where we started to see a lot more front row activity out of Stuckey.
Adding more to her repertoire.
That's right. A very well-rounded repertoire. But she dumps, she swings, and as a right, oh my goodness.
Well, that's a dent the floor wow play.
Yeah.
And it's set point Florida.
And
courtesy of Markova.
All you have to do is say swing, and Marina Markova does.
You think? Wow.
Look at that shot.
First opportunity at set point. Stuckey serves it. Tough one to play.
Not legal.
Right side Beeson will just steer it across.
A lot of tips at the net here.
Look
Neither
out,
team
Stuckey
really doing a good job.
Shoves Adams out of the way. And Markova finds the open spot on the court.
Yeah, both teams struggled there to really get control of that play. It was getting a little sloppy, and when you're tall.
Number 3 seed Florida takes the first set over Florida A&M by 10. And when you take a look at the numbers, pretty much in every facet of the match to this point, the Gators with a distinct advantage. And one of the big reasons Florida has succeeded offensively is the play of the transfer from Syracuse last year. First team all ACC selection. This year, first team all SEC.
That's 6'5" outside Marina Markova. She's second contributor in points to the Gators. And as you see in this reel here, it doesn't matter whether she's got one blocker or two, whether she's swinging away or placing the ball. She just gets the job done. And that's the kind of player you want out on the left pin, because there are going to be situations where it's going to be a less than great set. Markova's the type of player that can still put it away.
20 double-digit kill matches on the season, over 1,000 in her career. What a portal pickup for Mary Wise and his Florida program.
Yeah, and as you saw in this first round match, in the first set, hit 667. Not a bad way to start off the match. And the NCAA Division I Women's Volleyball Championship Tournament.
A&M will go to the outside to Brooklyn Watts, and Brooklyn Watts gives the Rattlers the early lead here as we open the second frame.
Got a really good view there of how Uchar plays her pin hitters off the net to allow them to do exactly that, to try to see the block, and if they can't hit high hands or work around, tool it. That's how a shorter team comes up with points.
Adams with a not so good pass. Somehow it's directed across the net by Stuckey. That one just long, an opportunity to score a point for Emerald Jacobs. But she'll miss it long for the attack error.
Looked like Jacobs was trying to find that back corner or maybe even a little bit of the Florida block. Still warming up her swing.
2, 7, 2.
I really like what Brooklyn Watts is trying to accomplish in terms of her spot on the court from the outside position, but that one just missed.
Yeah, you need a little bit more height or a lot more topspin to make that shot go down. But she had the look. You could tell that she was clearly trying to find that sharp angle.
7, 10.
A lot of balls heading our way tonight, huh?
Yeah, and this one off the Gator block, it's difficult to time those blocks when the team you're playing is a little more unconventional. You saw this tip from off the net. Wonderful contact out of A&M in the middle. And Florida just not turned in.
Markova on the outside. That one just sails long. She was right to her center, says, hey, that's my fault.
Yeah, that
good look.
If you notice, that ball wasn't doing any rotation whatsoever, so it just floated. Speaking of, when it floats just a little long, Florida gets the ball back. The loss of the ball doesn't mean loss of momentum. It's a phrase I used to use all the time back when I was coaching. But neither team really here getting anything going just yet in the second set.
Kind of a quirky start, right, to the second set.
Yeah, especially after such a commanding performance to finish up the first set by Florida.
2, 7, 16, 23.
Easy dig by McKissick there.
Florida will go out to Markova again.
2, 7, 16.
This time, it is a miss for Dominique Washington.
Now, Dominique Washington is a two-time Conference Player of the Year. She's a transfer from Georgia Tech, and one of two players that Gökhan Yilmaz says is really the X factor for this squad. The other being Brooke Hudson, the libero. You'll see her wearing number 9. She was her Conference Defensive Player of the Year.
There's a kill for Dominique Washington.
And right now, oh, I'm sorry, Tom.
No, I was going to say, but this feels like the fans are waiting in anticipation as we are for something to happen, if you will. It's been kind of,
but
as we said, off-kilter, kind of out-of-sync action here in this second set to get us underway currently at 4.
Well, I'll say that for the orange and blue side of the court till Gabby Essex comes along. But if you're Florida A&M, the Rattlers are playing the game that they need to play right now. They're remaining poised, and I heard that when I was speaking with Yilmaz, I guess yesterday evening, said a lot of the focus for Florida A&M is to take care of their system, take care of their side on the court, and not be distracted by what Florida's doing. Obviously, they have a game plan, but they want to focus on ball control and serving on their side of the court.
How about a service ace for Kanan?
Has Emily Kanan had one of those before?
A few during her freshman campaign.
Sometimes in strings of 3 or 4.
We've seen that.
2, 7.
Oh, nice look there. Just
I
a
don't
little
know
wide.
how McKissick got her hands out of the way. She was going to play the ball above her head and then decided not to.
Yeah, but that's a good look from Aja Jones. She's trying to.
Coming out of a Rattler called timeout by head coach Gökhan Yilmaz, trying to find something to shift momentum. Florida on a 3-0 scoring run. It was tied at 4. And to be frank, this is not the cleanest volleyball played here to start the second set by either squad, but let's see what the head man with the Rattlers figures out here during the timeout as Florida will go to Victoria.
9, 7, 16.
Dominique Washington is blocked.
Alive.
Florida A&M will keep it alive, but can't get it back across the net. So Gabby Essex credited with the kill.
That's what we expected coming into this, and to be fair, I think Yilmaz and his Rattlers did too, is to be outmatched on the net play with the Florida block. Florida's very strong in blocking and has used that to build momentum, along with their serving, like we just saw.
Kanan again.
You get a shot of the Gators here on the bench just briefly. That's one thing that's changed over the course of this season, and fans comment on that, is just the chemistry and how much fun this team seems to have while they're playing, whether they're on the court or not.
Service error. Point Florida A&M.
Service error gives the control back to Florida A&M. As we mentioned in the previous 12 meetings these teams have connected, A&M looking to take a set from Florida in this rivalry.
Interesting goal going into their conference championship. Yilmaz said that they just wanted to win 9 sets, which is what they needed to win the SWAC tournament, regardless of how many losses they had to take in order to get that, right? They just wanted to win those 3 matches. And it turns out they swept all of them. So they won them all in straight sets, and that's a pretty stark difference to last year where each of those matches was a 5-set battle. So a nice mark of progress for Florida A&M.
Set to the right side to Beeson.
Dump attempt, but Sophia Victoria's having none of it. Gotta love that scrappy play. That's the second time that Florida A&M's played out of the net.
Beeson against one, and I feel sorry in that instance that Washington couldn't get any backup because we're going one-on-one with the very physical Beeson. Ouch.
Yeah, well, the thing is Beeson's not alone. You look at the pin hitters for Florida, Beeson, Markova, Sophia Victoria. When they make their contact and really cut loose, gotta be careful. Somebody's gonna get hurt.
This is a Florida A&M team that's won 18 out of their last 19. They tied for the regular season crown in the SWAC, got the automatic bid by winning the tournament, as you just alluded to. Very seasoned team in terms of the grind of the conference schedule.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about that after this play. This is a really unique program. But there's plenty to talk about with Sophia Victoria in the front row. Goodness gracious.
What a season she has really played this year, maturing in her game, finding the right shots to hit at the right times.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Tom.
15 double-digit kill performances for Sophia. And the ace for Merritt Beeson.
Beeson catching the members bounce there on the tape, redirecting the ball. And you really have to pick up and get moving to pick those up. It's not an easy pass to make. It's almost better to have the ball, drilled at you.
Merritt Beeson 4th in the SEC, averaging .36 service aces per set. And that one's in.
There you go. Seeing why Brooke Hudson was the Conference Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, I should say. Jumped up. Now, it wasn't defense. It was service-receive passing. But, it's not uncommon to see liberos who are very good at defense and so-so on serve-receive. But Hudson getting the job done. Now back to serve.
Bree Kelly on the slide play.
Great touch there from Washington.
Go back to Bree Kelly to Stuckey in the middle response.
Let me take a second to talk about this A&M squad. When Yilmaz took over, there was an issue and some sanctions that were a result of something that occurred 10 years ago. And so he had a ban on postseason play, his first season with the program as a head coach. So you know what he did? He redshirted all of his starters. Never heard of that happening before. But just kind of gives you an idea of the mastermind behind this A&M squad.
Beeson back row, right side. Great up from Washington. And you've got to like the going for the hands, Brooklyn Watts.
That's a good look. Number 2, you see her on the screen there, and she's going to get a lot of those plays where she's facing large blocks from Florida. It's going to have to either work around, which is harder to do at that height, or use the block. And that was a great example of the latter.
5th kill of the night for Watts, tying for the moment Gabby Essex for most in the match. And Bree Kelly, not all the way to the antenna, but behind the setter, taking off on 1 foot and delivering.
Look at this along the net shot here. Great view. You see Kelly zero in on that ball. Makes a little bit of an adjustment to her approach and then off of 1 foot for the slide.
Emerson Hoyle in and serving for Florida.
Again, really good block or attack coverage rather by Florida A&M. There's that angle shot.
You said get a little bit higher or cut it a little bit better with more topspin, and you can keep it in. I think she did both.
Brooklyn Watts. That was it. Sometimes when
it sounds like a movie star name, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Brooklyn Watts.
Hey, that's definitely a movie star swing on that last one. That's front page quality.
Uh-oh. And then she can't get out of the way. Beeson almost tried to go through her to get to that second contact. Tough one for McKissick to handle there. Yeah, a little strange. Caught McKissick in no man's land between her platform and an overhead pass. She tried to get her midline out of the way there unsuccessfully. Beeson with just the placement shot.
Not the prettiest tip I've seen. But Beeson getting a little weird. And as I look at the stat line, I don't see a stat for pretty, so kill's a kill.
What do they say in baseball? That's a line drive in the scorebook. Even though it could be a Texas League blooper. Markova delivers.
The line drive of her own. Markova's got an unorthodox swing. For all of her height, she does swing off of her shoulder a bit. But that does allow her to take some shots if she doesn't have her feet aligned the way she wants to. She's more comfortable with making contact off of that shoulder line and still putting up a strong swing. Zuchar
I
again.
think Florida A&M was in the net.
Yeah, Zuchar again working with those tight passes and doing everything she can. When you see her turn her back in like that, that's so she can get 2 hands on the ball.
Yeah, she's in the net.
Yeah.
Veteran officiating crew here tonight. The R1 running match in the perch near us, Mark Prather. The R2, Rebecca Karstensen, who's also serving as the replay official. We don't have a separate replay official.
Maybe a little clarification from the A&M bench of whether it was Zuchar's hair or body. But
hair doesn't
moving
count.
on with the play, yeah, hair is not a net violation.
And we often see a lot of hair in the net.
16, 5,
Not mine, Tom. Those days are long over.
13,
Big block set up. Kalia Todd was there with Dominique Washington. Still a 7-point lead for Florida. And sitting here watching it, you watch the fans and their reactions in the stands. They don't see this as a threat. Florida in control, up comfortably. Florida A&M's got to find a way to get on a run, find a hot server.
Yeah, but you know, at the same time, you got to act like this is win or done situation for every team, because you know, Florida's shown that sometimes, you know, things don't go their way. They lose the pass, they let their foot off the pedal, and teams that you wouldn't expect are sometimes pulling a third set off of them and forcing a fourth, or we've seen a couple sweeps. So Florida's really got to key in, because the match tomorrow, if they do get past Florida A&M here, is going to be against a very lethal Iowa State squad who beat Texas earlier in the year.
Gave Texas their only loss. A big block there in the middle for Aja Jones. Top on the team coming into action tonight with 85 blocks. Gets another one there. She was an all-SWAC second team selection as Gokhan Yomaz continues to build this program back to prominence. Now in the SWAC conference. Used to be in the MEAC.
That's right.
And changed conferences.
That's right.
And Florida, in its NCAA tournament history, in the first round, 25-0. And during Mary Wise's tenure in Gainesville, 24-0.
But regardless of that, as we're watching Florida in some pass trouble here, Mary Wise will be the first one to tell you, you don't count wins that you haven't gotten yet. And we see a timeout because she's not liking what she sees on the court.
Mary Wise takes a timeout here. Gators up 5 and up a set on their home court.
Still available for the second round tomorrow night. Visit ncaa.com or log on to the web at floridagators.com/tickets for more information.
Welcome back to Gainesville, coming out of a Florida-called timeout as the third seed in this Wisconsin region. With a 5-point lead, but the volleyball hasn't been the cleanest here in this second set. Mary Wise wants to refocus the team on what's important, and that is every point matters. Let's get it done over so we can prepare for if they win, lucky enough to win, for an Iowa State team that won here earlier tonight.
Yeah, well, I think that the conversation was every pass matters. Because if you want to make big swings like Merritt Beeson just did, you got to control the first contact, and that's where Florida had fallen off. Not for the first time this season. If you want to get on track, you got to handle the first contact.
Ellie McKissick will now serve for Florida. Interesting, she goes back and dribbles the ball between her legs like it's basketball and then spins it on the finger, and then everyone has a routine, and consistency is a big thing.
Bree Kelly not fooled there.
No.
Uchar was going to try to set over there. And no. Not today. I got to give a shout out. You know, I'm calling this match for all of you listening along, but
yes,
nobody more so than Kyle Peck.
Yes.
Just so you know, this one's for you, buddy. Get an opportunity to hear from a lot of my old coaching buddies and whatnot when we call these matches, and especially in this time of year when everybody's geared up for the conference, or for the championship, rather.
Florida with an 8-point lead. And as I said, you just don't feel like A&M has enough firepower to threaten this Florida team.
And
that's the feeling you get.
Well,
Might
yeah,
be wrong.
But you know, you're going to have to, if you're A&M, like I said before, you're going to have to use the block the best you can and try to control as much of the game as you can. There's a good quality touch from Florida, but the right idea and high hands. And then control as much of the game as you can from the service line. That's what Florida A&M's got to do. And even then, it's still a tall order because Florida is just no joke.
And looking back on the season that both these teams have played, and if you're scouting Florida and a way to beat them, as you talked about, we saw them try it there, go high off hands. You look to that Florida-Georgia match where Georgia, that was what they did.
It was a masterclass. I know that's an overused term, but Georgia had what it seemed to me in watching their other matches, the match of their season, in going high hands against Florida, and really just showed how effective that shot can be if you can be consistent with it.
Set point Florida, a double-digit lead. Fans in the Exact Tech Arena on their feet.
Look at this celebration.
I guess she's riding a bike, huh?
Riding a bike and yeah. I don't even know what that was.
Washington says not this point.
Washington, a change up. Went for a high line, almost like a roll shot. I'm not even sure she hit it squarely, but it was enough to fool the Florida defense.
So another set point opportunity for Florida here at 24-15. Second of this second frame. Victoria. A&M will go to the middle.
Good look from the middle.
Florida keeps it alive. Some scrappy play by the Gators. Free ball opportunity for the Rattlers.
Try to go a bit inside there with Brooklyn Watts.
Back row Washington, and she missed it. It sailed wide.
You got to give A&M credit on that exchange right there. That singular play and spreading the ball out. Maybe not the best execution, but absolutely the right idea.
Florida takes a 2-0 lead to this break. 13th meeting between the two schools, and Florida yet to drop.
Download it today. NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship app for iOS or Android.
Alongside the good doctor, Dr. Josh Crow, I'm Tom Collette. Scott Snyder, our entire crew bringing you the match tonight through 2 sets. All Florida. Josh, what jumps out at you there?
Well, so far, Florida A&M can't mount any offense. Look at that hitting percentage, 18, and they've flirted with negative also, and that's just a reflection not only of the Florida block, but at times the Florida service pressure. And you hear ad nauseum coaches say it's all about the serve and pass game. Large portion of that hitting efficiency stat from the Rattlers is because of Florida's serving.
Well, Gokhan Yomaz has made some great strides in moving this program forward and their entrance into the SWAC conference. These two teams met last year in first round action. Florida limited Florida A&M to a negative 26 hitting efficiency number. More physical at the net, could stop what Florida A&M wanted to try to do offensively, and there's on the slide play. Not the best contact, but still the same result for Gabby Essex.
You know, and I might take issue with that, honestly. She left the ground a little early, but made a good adjustment there.
Okay.
Instead of trying to hit her way through, you know, a bad alignment on the slide, Essex just put the ball in bounds, and sometimes that's more than enough.
To the right side to Beeson. Essex behind her head. Stuckey with a wonderful up.
I love it, and McKissick takes a look before she heads over to the table to keep that ball alive.
McKissick with a one-arm save.
You see why Mary Wise calls her Ellie McDigger, and the unorthodox overpass kill from Florida A&M. You know what?
Unorthodox, that's a good word.
It's not unheard of. Usually you see this from the older guys playing beach. When they get you caught up front, man, they'll just put their platform on that ball and rocket it toward the back corner, and oh, it's so frustrating. That's why I don't play beach.
Brooklyn Watts serves for Florida A&M. Essex delivers yet another kill. Gabby Essex really has taken great strides offensively here in her sophomore season. 12 kills on 2 occasions. She has 8 on the night.
You mentioned the progress out of Gabby Essex, but I want to talk a little bit more about the progress out of the middles in general for Florida. You mentioned the slide earlier. It's not something that is unfamiliar to Florida fans. Well, another ace.
Kanan again.
Yes, speaking of not unfamiliar.
You said she can serve aces in bunches.
Well, let's see. So Florida now using the slide again, and that's something that in recent history, most of the middles for Florida have stayed in front of the setter and hit off of 2 feet. So to have that versatility adds just another layer to this Florida Gators team.
Kanan's 4th ace on the night.
Uh-oh.
Tried to dig that one up, diving to her right, couldn't come up with it.
Looked like she misjudged it just a little. It was farther away than she thought, caught her low on her platform.
But this Florida team stacked in terms of back row defenders with Kanan, Hoyle, freshman, Trinity Adams, just a sophomore, and then McKissick at the libero position.
And that seems to be on purpose lately for Florida. They really stack the deck with defensive players.
Well, for some of you who may be watching this match, tournament action, and seeing Florida for the first time this season maybe, and last year Florida had 2 outside hitters who played in all 6 rotations all the way around. Now it's basically the opposite. You play an outside hitter, you play 3 on the front, and you come out for a DS, and then you flip the script the other way.
Yeah, but that's elite level coaching, because you don't try to fit a square peg through a round hole. You have to work with the squad that you have, and that's what Mary Wise is doing here. And if you think back to how this team played, for anybody that caught spring matches, when they were trying 6 rotations outsides, it wasn't pretty, Tom. And so they made an adjustment, and this system, while it took a little while to warm up, has definitely been working for Florida.
Maybe the best swing of the night for Dominique Washington, but Florida up to the task in the back row defense. They've doubled up Florida A&M in the dig department to this juncture in the match. That's Emerald Jacobs, though, from the right with the good look.
Yeah, and you got to give Jacobs extra credit, because saw Sophia Victoria turn out. She knew the set was going to go that way. The Dave Booth scouting report coming through true there. And even having the block set up early, A&M was able to come away with a kill.
Jada Taylor serving from way back. That ball was in there a long, long time.
But you know what that allows you to do, especially if you're shorter, is you can put more pace on it. And the more pace you have on a float serve, the more it's going to move around. That's what you want. It's unpredictable.
Merritt Beeson now serves for Florida.
Or the alternative is just be tall.
How about 8 service aces on the night for Florida? 4 by Kanan on her own. And the Gators force the Florida A&M early timeout here in set 3. A set they need to win to continue this match and their season. NCAA tournament, win or go home. That is what these teams are playing for now. 6 wins are in the NCAA title match, winning the title. And so far, Gabby Essex has been great offensively for Florida, Josh.
Well, you made it sound easy, but Essex is out here putting the work in. You see her in front of and behind. Such a heavy arm. You don't see it moving really quick, but when she makes contact, she can get that ball going. And you see some of these shots here, she's doing a really good job when she's not aligned like she wants to be by just spotting the ball and keeping it in bounds.
Up from McKissick. Back row right side, Beeson. Too much to handle for Brooke Lynn Watson. Back to Essex just for a moment. Someone asked me recently, compare how someone from Florida's program passed, how she hits it to similarly. And I said Jackie Robinson. Heavy ball.
Oh, for Essex? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm stuck on the Merritt Beeson back row attack. Anybody that's heard me talk about Merritt Beeson knows that of all of the contacts for Florida, I think I love watching Merritt Beeson hit out of the back row the best. If you can ever get that kind of tennis view from beyond the end line and watch her hit, it is just an absolute thing of beauty. She's dialed in. I don't see very many mishits. And her timing and the way she torques on the ball, it's textbook. And that's all the doting I'll do for now.
And that's a look I like to see. I've called a lot of matches. I like to be beyond the end line and see the attack patterns.
Oh, for sure.
And see it. I was talking to one of our producers about this. I mean, in the international game, they shoot it more like tennis from the end line, if you will, from behind one of the teams. You see the attack patterns. You see how the setter directs traffic. It's pretty intense.
Well, it does give you a better look at how the play develops in the blocking scheme. And there you go. You got one. Somebody's picking up on the hint there on our film crew. But, you know, you also have to work with what you've got in the facility. And not every facility has what Florida does and the ability to get a good view from the end line.
Thanks for that look. Scott Snyder and our crew giving us a great look from one of our end zone cameras. See how Beeson approaches for her serve.
Yeah, but watch more importantly how the hitters for Florida A&M spread out and force Florida into identifying the hitter and setting up the block, and vice versa.
And that was just the one, again, where Sophia Victoria had really no approach. Just went up and put it down.
She had a really good idea in that view of how little room she had to work with in the back corner there. But she got it done, and Florida ahead 12-3 in this decisive set.
Welcome back to Gainesville, Florida, Exact Tech Arena. Alongside Josh Crow, I'm Tom Collette. The Florida Gators earned the #3 seed in this region, meaning again that they're tabbed as a top 16 seed. 28th time in program history that the Gators have earned a top 16 national seed. Just a program built by Mary Wise and previous coaches and players that they brought in. Just a shining example of success. 25th SEC regular season championship won by Mary Wise. Sharing it this year with Kentucky as they split on this court here a few weeks ago. But the way the SEC has been elevated, and there's an ace!
Merritt Beeson getting the call from associate head coach Dave Booz. You saw the smile and the nod before the last serve. She's been targeting that right back zone. See her here with this jump float. Wow, just finding it there. But either way, it's either in that back corner or trying to key in on number 17, Emerald Jacobs.
McKissick tries to no avail to keep it alive, but that ends a 9-0 Florida scoring run.
You got to love that. In the serve before that, there was a bit of a traffic jam with Aja Jones and Uchar in the front rows. They tried to run it down, but on this last one, Emerald Jacobs passed and then got the go-ahead to hit out of the back row for a kill.
There's Dominique Washington serving for Florida A&M. Victoria from the left. And now you see the athleticism, the physicality of Florida. Players bigger in stature.
But look at this, it's just so clean.
Wow.
You know, and even I would venture to say a lower set than Victoria was either expecting or approached for, but she made the adjustment, and I'll tell you, she's had her issues with consistency, and she's working those out, but fundamental mechanics on her swing, it's just beautiful.
Great look at, you see the middle blocker for Florida A&M, Aja Jones from that view, loading right and coming across to the left.
Anything you can do to disrupt the block. And that's the hard job with teams that not only are smaller but are faster. If Florida A&M can run the offense quickly and then diversify it like that and force Florida to really pick up on and identify their hitters, they may have a chance against the block.
Florida with a double-digit lead, though, here in set 3 at 15-5. Make it 16-5 as Bree Kelly gets to that right antenna. And that's one where you get that end zone look and you see the route, if you will, that is run by the middle blocker to get all the way to that right antenna. Great shot from our net cam there.
And if the timing is right for that slide, then the hitter also then, if they're skilled, still has the choice of hitting down the line or back against their movement to the angle.
Triple block up for Florida. Markova, Essex, and Stuckey. A lead of a dozen. This is where it's gut check time for the Florida A&M Rattlers. Down big, down 0-2 against your in-state rival.
When you bring up physicality for Florida, as I look at the stat line, out of 20 swings out of the middle, only 2 errors between the 2 middles. Essex hitting 700, Kelly hitting 600 with that last slide. That's a lot to overcome.
Markova just stood there and sent it back across. Just extended the arms.
Go Gadget arms, for those old enough to remember.
And she'll get the kill there. Markova's 6th of the match. Boy, they went to her heavy early, but that's just her 10th swing.
We're going to see a sub here.
AC Fitzpatrick.
AC Fitzpatrick. And if you're Florida, one thing that you really do have to pay attention to is not running this match on autopilot. You got to build intensity, because if you win, you've got a stronger opponent tomorrow. And if you win that one, you got to hit the road for an even stronger opponent. So you got to build momentum. There's no coasting at this point of the season, regardless of whom you're playing.
And in back-to-back nights, too, you want to try to get some rest for your starters and players who play a lot of court time.
Well, and that's a benefit for Florida. You said that it's a win or go home. Florida being the home team gets to win and then go home and get some rest.
Kill for AC Fitzpatrick. She last played against Arkansas, the first match against the Razorbacks, on the 29th of October. And here comes Nady Okamore to check in for Florida.
And I love not only AC Fitzpatrick, I've talked to her former coaches for club. You know, she's from just down the road in Ocala, as you said. And just I guess the intangibles that she brings to the team, and a lot of that chemistry.
Energy.
Yeah, and energy that we were talking about earlier is due to,
Hello!
Stuff like that.
That's a wild play. And the Gator players on the bench erupt. I'm looking at Birdie Hendrickson sitting on the floor with her hands over her mouth saying, did she just do that?
When you get an overpass opportunity, you'll oftentimes see players make a choice between jumping and direction blocking or jumping and swinging, not approaching and swinging like AC Fitzpatrick just did. How's that for court awareness?
I can't remember the last time I saw a play like that.
I just saw it.
I'm thinking back, maybe I saw that from Audi Cruz in the 2003 run. But wow, she just timed it perfectly.
Yeah, and be remiss if you didn't bring up that huge block from Brooklyn Watts against Merritt Beeson. Swinging out of the back row, Watts ready for it.
Brooklyn Watts, the transfer from Murray State, still playing hard. Gators up by 2 touchdowns here, by 14. trying to close it out and be ready to play tomorrow night at 7 against Iowa State and a trip to a regional semifinal. And the Sweet 16. Okemore delivers the blast.
Up by 2 touchdowns, and Okemore with the extra point.
It's good. And next in for Florida off the bench is Rhett Robinson, the graduate transfer from North Texas.
I know a lot of fans have been waiting for this. They love him some Rhett Robinson. Look, she's got that huge smile on her face, but watch, if she gets to use that right arm of hers.
It's quite a right arm. And she and Okemore team up for the block. Rhett Robinson last played against Alabama on the 21st of September. Last year, she was first in Conference USA, 9th in the NCAA with 352 kills. She's used to being a high-volume hitter.
And you see her out there talking to AC Fitzpatrick. You gotta love how much these players are enjoying the moment. They live for this.
And cheering for each other.
Oh, yeah.
Fitzpatrick again. Oh, just long. But there's a touch. She gets the kill.
You know, Fitzpatrick is, I say, only 5'11", but she can really get up. But she's the type of player, having come from Penn State, she's familiar with the big block and how to work the block, and that's what she was going for, a roll shot, or excuse me, a top spin shot, of course, heavy top spin swing, but high on the blocking hands.
Fitzpatrick, the 2020 Florida Gatorade Player of the Year out of Trinity Catholic in Ocala before going to Penn State. Here's Brooklyn Watts to serve. Rhett Robinson.
Making a smart choice, off the net and inside.
Whoa, what an up from Adams and back left.
Trinity Adams has been a great story for Florida also. Came in as a walk-on and earned her scholarship as a defensive player. Has been a mainstay in the back row for Florida, coming in and serving and defending, but not wearing the libero jersey, still just as crucial.
She's had 4 double-digit dig matches this year. And that one is called in. It's right on the line.
And Robinson's still warming up the connection. Imagine coming in and taking swings after standing and watching for, you know, an hour or so after warm-ups. Takes a little while to warm that up, but trust, she can hit the ball. Like that.
It's match point Florida.
And you notice where Rhett Robinson took that swing from. Maybe Okemore shifted to the right. Robinson hit out of the middle and lift that ball up.
Well, I guess it's appropriate that Canan checks back in to serve at match point. She's got 4 service aces on
You think
evening.
Think one more for the night to close it out?
It'd be all right. Did you call that or what? Emily Canan puts an exclamation point on the match with her 5th service ace of the evening as Florida wins its 13th and 13 tries against Florida A&M. And we'll move on to the NCAA tournament 2nd round to play tomorrow night, 7 o'clock against Iowa State.
Got to give big credit to the Rattlers for coming into hostile territory and playing their hearts out against a very serious foe.
Well, that'll wrap up our coverage for this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we're going to take a look at the bracket before we do so. It sets up the 2nd round match tomorrow night here in Exact Tech Arena. The 3-seed Florida taking on the 6-seed Iowa State, who had to withstand a huge comeback effort from Florida Gulf Coast earlier here on this floor tonight. It's the 2-seeded teams doing battle tomorrow.
Robinson and Okemore.